Oh, God.
Perfect. Welcome to Dirty Fanatics.
Falcon fans, Falcon Nation, welcome to Dirty Fanatics United. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that like button, leave a comment, definitely subscribe, and ring the bell so you know when DFU brings you Atlanta Falcon content. I am your host, C-Money, followed by my wonderful crew of co-hosts, Robert, Cody, Rick. Philip was not able to make it tonight. Shout out to Philip. Falcon fans, was not the game the Atlanta Falcons expected today, which in some terms, maybe it was. There was a game that was an NFC South divisional opponent. You knew it was going to be a biting at the teeth type of game. At points, there was a chance that the Falcons could have even jumped out to keep that game from being a biting at the teeth type of game, man. This is your boys from DFU. We're going to get right into it here very shortly. Robert, what's going on, man? Glad to have you here tonight. How are you guys doing?
Good to be here. A little bit disappointed, but there's a lot of positives we can take away from today. Just a lot of stuff that can be cleaned up. It's pretty easy. Just got to execute better. And just last time we lost to the Bucks at home on opening day, we wound up in the Super Bowl. So not ready to hit that panic button yet.
Absolutely, Robert. As you stated, there were some good throughout the game that we are going to hit on today, and we're going to hit on the negative as well here at the podcast. Cody, what's going on, man? You and Rick as well. We're both at the game today. You've seen it firsthand. What's going on, man? How are we feeling tonight on this Week 1 L to the Buccaneers?
Well, not quite ready to hit the panic button yet, but you know what? I'm going to start off this way, not to jump topics early, but Young Wei Koo, man, it's probably time to go, buddy. I would say it sucks to say that because, he's won in so many important games, but, unfortunately in the National Football League, it's not past success that keeps your job. It's what you're doing for me right now. And right now you're losing me football games, dude. And that goes back to last year. And it's just unacceptable at this point. Now, I'm not going to pin it all on Koo. There's definitely a lot of things the offense could have done a lot better. There are things the defense could have done a lot better. But when you're missing 34-yard field goals, man, it's a problem.
Cody, especially after your offense goes down and drives the field. You're already out without Mooney. Drake goes out on the previous downs in the red zone. So now you're definitely floating off of Kyle Pitts, Cordell Hodge, Casey Washington, a little banged up, it seemed like, in a couple of plays. He took a lot of major hits today. But we're going to dive right into it, man. Rick, what's going on, dog? Glad to have you here tonight. How are we doing?
Man, the Falcons, man. Oh.
Tough.
You know what's funny? I was just thinking while I was sitting here while y'all were talking, I was like, the longer the time goes on, the more bent out of shape I'm getting about it. Because when I first walked out of the building, I was like, you know what? Not too bad. We saw some things. Penix kind of made some things happen. The defense kind of showed some things. What I thought was going to be a problem wasn't the problem. What I didn't think was going to be a problem was the problem. But I'm just, what the most frustrating part about it is to me is that was such a typical Falcons game.
It was.
I say this all the time. You can replace every single person in the fucking building. And it's still like we start to get something going, and then somebody makes a boneheaded play, and then we get set back a couple plays, and then somebody, Penix makes a play, and then there's a penalty. It's just like that was such an Atlanta Falcon. I was like, of course. As the game was playing, when I was sitting there, I was like, another one. Here we go again. Like, we let that.
There was times that in the first drive. I mean, we'll start from the top. We'll start the topics with this. Everybody run through a breakdown of your explanation of today's game, or just overall view of today's game. I'll start it off with what a fantastic start, guys. I mean, what a playbook storyline start that the Atlanta Falcons came out the gate with. 3 plays, you only go to both of your running backs, and you're in the end zone with Bijan Robinson, 50-yard touchdown, easy little check down pass from Michael Penix. Okay, we're moving. Defense comes out. Defense gets a 3 and out. Okay, offense gets back on the ball. We drive the ball. We end up having to punt the ball. We did move the ball past the 50. Initially, had to punt that ball away. Okay, cool. It's still early. Defense comes back out. Another 3 and out. Okay, we're cooking.
Yep.
Like this is what we've done all offseason. Like this is why Raheem Morris was okay with not playing starters in the offseason, or in, I should say, preseason. And then it goes on, and it's like you sit down and you're like, okay, it's the second quarter, and the Bucks have now tied the game up. Okay, now the Bucks are up 10-7. Now the worry starts sitting in because the Falcons have hit a brick wall. The play calling at times were not where I feel like it should have been. There was the wrong personnel in certain plays that were called. There was the red zone play where you did the sweep to the left with Bijan. Every freaking play, you had a leading tight end blocker that motioned across the screen in the direction that the ball was snapped. You know that's your free blocker. Like that's who your running back is going to follow. You get down the red zone, you put Bijan in a situation where it's like 2nd and goal on the 2-yard line, and then initially you get pushed back 5 yards off of that one play because you did a sweep to the left on Bijan that's been characterized by 4 different defenders on the defense side of the ball. And then not to mention the fact of Koo, not only did he miss the field goal to take you in overtime, that Penix and the backup receivers, and shout out to Kyle Pitts real quick for the podcast starts. Kyle Pitts, you did your job today, brother, and I'm more than pleased with the production. If you can give me that every Sunday, Pitts, we are good. That is enough for a contract for me. But you go down the field, you miss the field goal to go into overtime, another gut-wrenching loss to an NFC South opponent. And then not only the miss that he missed to take you into overtime, but the doinker off the extra point that initially Penix dives across the end zone. Koo goes out there. Should be an easy kick. Barely makes that kick. So it's like, I don't know where it went wrong. You could point at the coaches. You could point at Koo. You could point at Mike Hughes that got burnt by a rookie all day today. Or you could point at the fact that we get pressure, but we are still not getting home to the quarterback. Baker Mayfield in times after halftime had way too much time in the pocket, and it showed that when quarterbacks have time, receivers are going to find a way to get open. Robert, the floor is open to you, brother, and we'll just rotate this thing around the table.
Well, one thing that I've noticed is whenever we run play action, when you notice when the Bucks were running play action, Baker would turn around, he'd hide the ball real quick, turn around quick, set his feet, and make his throw.
Yep.
Where Penix was taking, this
Way
long, sweeping motion and all that, like he's going to bootleg and all that. That's got to stop. I'm sorry, but it's just got to stop.
I noticed it as well, Robert. That was one of the keys that I should have mentioned. There was way too much time within the fake handoff and the rollout because by the time that he was rolling out, defenders were already in his face.
Yep. And one thing on a positive note, very first play of the game, they come out with empty backfield, and I'm like, okay, we're going to make a statement here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this offense is going to be elite, if they're going to be high powered, they're going to have to keep their foot on the gas. I mean, look at all the great offenses from the past. The '99 Rams, the 2005 Colts, even our 2016 offense. They didn't let up. We score an early touchdown on just 3 plays, and then we're the second drive. Yeah, burn a little clock. Keep their offense off the field and all that. But you got to finish those drives. And just I'm more than a little disappointed in Mike Hughes. He let a rookie just turn him into toast today. I don't know what's going on there, but something's got to give there too.
Cody?
Yeah, man, it just really sucks because it really felt like, and guys, I can't sit here and say that, the starters playing a couple series in preseason, makes a difference today, but it really sucks when you're sitting there and 3 plays later, you're already up 7-0. Historically we start slow. The last couple of years that we haven't played starters, and then to start off so hot, I mean, in the end zone, boom. And then, get that next drive going. I wasn't even that upset that, we had to punt on that second one because I'm like, man, we're moving the sticks. We're still moving, doing real well. But then the stall out. Man, one of the biggest things for me, and, Philip can, he was saying the same thing, was these stupid screen passes, man. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say screen passes don't work, but people catch on. 2, maybe 3 times a game. Okay, cool. They work sometimes. But, and this is what I told Philip standing there watching. I was like, even when you're playing Madden, the computer catches on to that real quick when you line up that way. And it wasn't surprising anybody, and you're still, screen passing on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and I'm just like, why are we still doing this? We did this all last year too, and it didn't work. So what the hell is going to be the difference this year when you're screen passing on some of this? Mm-hmm. Man, I'm just so frustrated with it too. Like Rick said, now the more I think about it, the more frustrated I am with it. But
this podcast like 3 hours ago, I would have been totally different.
Right. But the thing is too, like, again, I'm man enough to admit that I think I'm just wrong about Young Wei-Koo, man. I don't know whether I don't know who's to blame for the Young Wei-Koo situation. I think a lot of me is like, well, did Coach Raw destroy his confidence running him out there last year, hurt, and him missing all those? I don't know what's going on there, guys. But yeah, I mean, we can't keep doing this stuff. This team is built to run wide too. And so I'm not understanding why you've got your smaller back and Bijan and you're trying to run it between the guards.
At Vita Vea, at every player that there is.
Yes, and it's just like it's like, and then the other thing is too is kept running it to the I think it was the left side, constantly just running it to the left side, running it to the left side. It's like you weren't fooling anybody. It was just so predictable and so basic. At some points, during that long stall out, when the offense couldn't get anything going, it's like y'all are doing the same thing and expecting a different result, and that's the definition of insanity. I mean, and that's how the play call was making me feel was insane. Mm-hmm. I'm just going, you've got to do something different. Some of the good takeaways I will take away from it is the offensive line held up a lot, held up pretty decently. Not so much in the run game, and I'm going to say this for all the people that, love to trash McGarry. I'll say, who missed him today? Because I know I sure did. I think it was 69 total rushing yards between Tyler and Bijan. Most of Bijan's, over half of Bijan's yards came through the air. And we can't have that. That is not going to be a recipe.
It was early in the group chat. Rick messaged the group chat and says, Tampa Bay has officially stopped the run. And that's when I knew that it was going to be a big, very, very long day, because when you can't allow Bijan to run the ball, I mean, you came out there, the first set of plays, you had a 2-head back with Tyler Algier and Bijan both on the field. Mm-hmm. As the game progressed, that kind of dwindled away. I don't understand why that happened. Yep. But when that was the case, the defense couldn't decide who the ball was going to. And then you got to one-dimensional where you wanted to run Bijan up the middle, as you stated, and kind of went away from Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier had a total of, let's see how many carries. Tyler Algier had a total of 10 carries today for 24 yards because of how you utilized him.
Yeah. And again, it's gonna be a problem that I just don't understand what Zach Robinson either does or doesn't see out there, that he's not getting them both mixed in. Again, why do we not have both of them on the field at the same time? It just at this point does not make any sense. I don't know if Zach Robinson is trying to prove a point that we can just beat you with Bijan, and if we want to add Tyler to your beat down, we can do that. Dude, if that's the problem, get out of your feelings, drop the ego, and let Tyler run too. I mean, I don't think we lost a game last season when there was that healthy mix of Tyler Algier and Bijan. Pounding him with Tyler, make him tired, and then let Bijan go break ankles. The only other good thing I'll say, I'm definitely I feel really good about our center position. I don't know if they showed it on TV or not.
He did very well.
But Ryan Nuzil, he planted Vita Vea on his big fat ass a few times. He made him look pretty bad. A few plays. I don't know if you saw it, Rick. I would say they kind of showed it up on the Halo board where he planted him.
Yep.
I was like, all right. I was like, we're okay at center. But as far as like Elijah Wilkinson, I think he did an okay job. He definitely, held up, fairly decent. But at the same time, man, I miss Caleb McGarry.
Rick, you've heard, all three of our storylines of how we felt about the game. Now it's your time to elaborate of what went wrong today and what did the Falcons do right?
I'm going to start first with I was really excited that they came out hot, gave the fans something to get excited about. I thought that looked pretty good. But I think I said it about the second or third quarter. I'm a competitive athlete myself, and what I saw was an adrenaline dump. I saw a team on both sides of the ball get super fiery hot, and then after that, they were trying to catch their breath, and then Tampa Bay started. Irving started to, and I saw it happening. He started getting that 9-yard and then the 7-yard, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yep.
Uh-oh, you got a little too hot, a little too excited, a little too early. So I think that happened. I think after I was watching back to the game, after the third drive, the run game got shut down completely. So, I think they said the Bucks have a pretty strong run defense. I don't remember what rank they said they were, but I think basically Zach saw that we weren't getting any penetration. We weren't pushing them back at all. And it was like, dude, every time they ran the ball, we were getting stuffed. So then he was like, all right, we got to mix this up and switch this up a little bit. And so that's why he started passing it a lot more. I thought Penix started fast. I think he was, 6 of 7 or 6 of 8 or something like that in the beginning of the game. I thought in the middle game, like in the second quarter to beginning of third quarter, I thought he missed some really easy throws to Drake and a couple other people. But I also saw a combination of Drake had probably, don't quote me here, 2 or 3 easy drops. Maybe not easy, but catches he normally makes. Bijan had 2 that were wide open. No one was even around him, and he just dropped the ball. One of them was near the end of the game when it would have been a touchdown, just like his other one.
Yep.
I thought, watching the game, I thought, hey, I'll clap it up for Casey Washington. Casey Washington had a big-time game today. I thought he came up big. I thought they didn't get Ray the ball enough. When Ray touched the ball, he got a first down every time he touched the ball. So I don't think they got him the ball enough. So that clearly shows that we were missing Mooney and his ability to change direction and things like that. What else did I say? The DNs could not contain. I thought they were getting some penetration, but they couldn't contain, and Baker was getting to the outside and getting around them. And then I also saw that once they kind of settled in on their offensive line, we weren't getting any push up the middle, and they were clearing us out in the middle a lot, and Baker was taking the ball straight up the middle. So I thought that was part of a problem. I expected Roop to have a little bit more impact than he did. I mean, he did pretty decent, but he didn't have as much impact as I thought he was going to. I also thought overall our tackling improved pretty significantly compared to last season. Last season, tackling was a major problem. There were still some missing tackles and things like that. But when I'm looking at the stat sheet, and I'll say this, if you think about the offensive line, we have 2 brand new starters in the offensive line, generally speaking, right? We had Watts, Bowman, Diablo, Walker, Pierce. We had a bunch of new players playing their first NFL game or first time with us. We had a new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator. Overall, the new people, I think they showed up and showed out. I saw Watts making a ton of plays. Bowman made a ton of plays. Walker showed up a little bit, made a couple tackles. I think I liked him better when they pushed him back to linebacker when he was a defensive end. Defensive end, he did absolutely nothing. Pierce had a quarterback hit. Other than that, he was invisible. Leonard Floyd didn't even make a play in the game. I don't know what happened there, but they kind of went away from him. I think the star of the whole game was Divine Diablo.
Yes,
From watching the game, I kept telling my guys, I'm like, dude, watch him. Like, he's a big-time player. He made a ton of plays. And overall, I think, like, the thing that pisses me off the most is the Falcons hurt themselves. I saw so many opportunities with bad penalties and setbacks and the Rukaroro play and the drops and the interceptions that should have been. Diablo had an interception, hit him straight in the stomach, or Watts did. Watts had one hit him straight in the stomach. But that's just like standard Falcon stuff where I see other teams make that play. It's a big time play, and it could have changed the game. So that's why when I look at, I'm not covering for Koo at all, but everybody messed up. Yeah. Everybody missed plays. Everybody looked rusty. I mean, Drake wasn't Drake today. He wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Pitts gave me 60, 70 yards. Like you said, if he does that every game, welcome back. Let's keep it rolling. So, overall, I just, I'm not going to get too mad about this game. This is a division rival game. This is a NFC championship caliber team that we played against. First game for a lot of players. 23-20, we had opportunity to win. So I'm trying not to get too down on it. Michael Penix, hey man, I was kind of concerned in the beginning, but he turned up, and in clutch time, I saw what I needed to see from 9.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, and I would say, and to Rick's point too, one of the things that was driving me nuts too is, I think, and I'm not the guy to blame officiating whatsoever. I mean, you got to go make.
God, we threw how many challenge flags?
I would say officiate. All of them. But the other thing that, again, this was something me and Philip, and we talked about. I mean, there were several times that I saw, we saw Jalen Walker getting ready to come up and absolutely kill somebody and held big time. I mean, just they were Tampa Bay was getting away with a lot, as far as that.
There's now, again, that's PI in the end zone that they missed too.
Yeah, and and I'm not going to sit here and blame officiating because you can't control that. You control the things that you can control. You don't drop balls. You don't drop interceptions. You don't miss 34-year field goals. But again, to Rick's point too, they're not perfect. This is the first time. A lot of these guys are here with us or are starting in an NFL game. But man, the good to me definitely seem to outweigh the bad. But I'm really hoping that they go in, kind of clean this up, because I think the upside's there, boys. I really do. I think the upside's there. I think it's going to be a good, not just a good football team, but I think a really, really great football team. But you got to clean up the things you can control.
The thing I'm trying to keep in mind is last year the Falcons did worse against a lesser opponent.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks are better than the Steelers were last year, and we looked pretty bad last year.
Yes.
So this year, I thought we started pretty good. It's the first week of the NFL season. I mean, the Chiefs didn't look great. The Dolphins looked horrible. The Panthers got destroyed. There was a lot of teams that the Commanders didn't look that great. The Bengals looked bad. The Patriots got beat. The 49ers and Seahawks were okay. The Broncos scored 20. The Lions got destroyed. So, I'm just trying to keep it in perspective. And the main reason why, and I'll say this to all Falcons fans, I tell this to people all the time. I waited 8 months for this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm not just going to let it bitter me and sour me and ruin the whole NFL season for me.
No.
I'm not doing. I used to do that. I'm not doing that no more. I was so excited about this season. I'm at 98%. I was still at 100. I'm only at 98. I was telling my girlfriend, you get in arguments with her. I'm like, we only got 9 hearts now. We had 10. We only got 9 hearts now. All right. Right.
And it's like I
don't clip that.
Well, it was what I told y'all in the chat. Same thing I told my wife. I was like, look, guys, at this point, I'm one of the most optimistic Falcon fans that there is. I just am, because I'm always positive about this team. But I think the key for me at this point, being a Falcon fan, since I was 5 years old and I'm 35 now, so 30 years in this, in this mother, is the most abusive relationship I've ever been in. And I've just decided that it doesn't matter if our quarterback is black, white, green, purple, mobile, immobile. We can have a top 10 defense. I think Jesus Christ could come play quarterback for us, and we'd still find a way to struggle, guys. It's what our birds are.
So what's very disappointing of the whole situation, if you look at the stats and you go to team stats and we're going to compare right here. We're going to do it right now. Total yards, the Atlanta Falcons had 358 total yards to the Buccaneers 260.
Yes.
Yep.
First down efficiency, the Atlanta Falcons came away with 23 first downs to the Buccaneers 16. Third down efficiency, the Bucks beat us on that 7 out of 14. We got 6 out of 15. Fourth down efficiency, they got 1 for 1. We had 4 fourth down conversions today, right? We went 4 times on 4th down and completed 3 of those. Total plays, we had 71 total plays of their 56. We allowed 1 sack. They allowed 1 sack. They punted the ball 4 times. We punted to their 3. Penalty-wise, we had 8 penalties for 55 yards. They had 5 penalties to 60 yards. 0 fumbles, 0 interceptions. Time of possession. This is what's big to me. The Atlanta Falcons held the ball 10 minutes longer than the Buccaneers did the whole entire game with our 35.12 to their 24.48. Now, if you go back and look at with no run game, our rushing yards were a total of where'd it go? Right here. Rushing yards, 69 rushing yards to their 101 rushing yards. Passing yards, Penix with 298 passing yards to their 159. Now, there's no way in hell the Atlanta Falcons should have lost this game. When you go to player stats, Baker Mayfield, 17 for 32, 167 yards. Didn't even break 200. 3 touchdowns. The Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix, 27 out of 42 attempts. Michael Penix threw the ball 42 times today because the Atlanta Falcons could not figure out how to run the ball. 298 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interception. Bijan Robinson, now here's the kicker. 12 carries for 24 yards, averaging 2 yards per carry. Tyler Algier, 10 carries for 24 yards, averaging 2.4 yards per carry. Penix, 6 carries for 21 yards. Your quarterback damn near had as many rushing yards as both of your running backs. I don't know where the offensive line or the game scheme came into effect, but that first drive, the Atlanta Falcons didn't give up any pressure. And then after that, it was just a collapse from there on out. Before we get too further much into this, I want to give a shout out to all the viewers here on YouTube. Tony Primetime Dunn, Ken Folk Cousin, Obnal, Gator, Georgia, Texas boy. Obnal in the chat with it. Uncle Steve's Lounge is here with us. And a bunch of others are over on the Facebook. If you're on Facebook, man, check us out on YouTube. Be sure to come in and comment. Uncle Steve says, "What's up, guys? I agree with Rick. This was not the same energy we came out with against the Steelers last year. We lost to a really good team today. No need to jump off the bridge yet." Falcon fans, that's what I want to talk about because it's something I talked with my wife about. Just how good are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Because not a soul on NFL Network, ESPN, whatever it may be, had the Atlanta Falcons walking away with a W today. The Bucks were the favorite from the start. The Bucks initially win by 3 points. Barely by the skin of their teeth, your Atlanta Falcons fall 0-1. Rick, there was a very big injury today in Drake London. As you stated, he did drop a couple of balls. I don't have an update on that, but could you elaborate on maybe some things that you were reading earlier?
No, I don't have an update either. I just saw somebody that said, take it for what it's worth. It was a media person that said, we got a big injury with Drake. His shoulder's all jacked up. But what that means, we never know. So,
well,
I did see the pass in the end zone where we all thought was a touchdown. They initially ruled it. It wasn't a touchdown. The NFL has 100 cameras, but could not get an angle of the back of the end zone. That's the topic for another time.
I got this little stat I want to throw out there that, this is why I like kind of looking at the stats afterwards because it tells a little bit better story. The Falcons were 4th in week 1 in pressure rate on the quarterback drop back. So 41%. So we just couldn't get them on the ground, which is pretty standard Falcons, to be honest. I think our pressure's not normally there, but 41%. And I think it looked good in the beginning. And there were some moments. It was just like the middle of the game is where I felt like.
But you know what happened, Rick? If you remember back to the beginning of the game, and I'm sure you've seen it when you rewatched it, we ran a quarterback spy with Caden Ellis.
Yeah.
You sent Diablo. You had Caden Ellis as the QB spy. Once the quarterback spy was gone, Baker Mayfield read it and was able to pull down on 3rd down, whatever it may be, and was able to approach that 1st down marker. I don't know where that went.
Well, and the thing about that too is, man, Caden Ellis absolutely planted Baker. When he tried to run it on that 3rd and 7, absolutely planted him in the dirt. And I was like, all right, this isn't going to be a problem today. And then it did. It became a problem again. Baker, getting things done with his feet.
5 carries for 39 yards, by the way.
Yeah, and you can't have that. But I will say, I did read right before we jumped back on, when we were talking about Drake, I did see that it was a shoulder contusion, so he's day to day. So he should be okay. The other thing before I forget, this is one of the biggest things. that I think we talk about on this podcast all the time. Falcon fans deserve their flowers today.
Bro.
People showed up. It
We
was
see my
packed.
videos.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was incredible today. But here's the thing, though, Falcon fans, it has to continue. I understand it's hard after a loss to want to come back and keep doing those things. But if the Benz is packed like that every single home game, man, it would be great for the team, because look at how hot they started. And I think a lot of that had to do with the hype and the energy that was inside the stadium. You know, again, I'm not going to sit here and, be one of those people that's like, the fans win the game, the energy from it, that may not be that, but look at what it does to help, that adrenaline, and it does help, bring that stuff out. So flowers to the Falcon fans for showing up today, for sure.
So we have a comment here from Southside Ricky. He says, how did Brandon Dolores look today? Anybody want to elaborate on that?
I didn't see him, to be honest.
I didn't see him either.
You know what the hardest part of the game was for me? They were rotating players so much. I kept looking. I'm like, hold on, is Jalen Walker out there? No. They got.
Yeah, you had to guess. You had to guess who was on the field.
Them out a lot.
And you've seen Zach Harrison play a lot of DT in the beginning of the game, and then towards the end, no Zach Harrison on the field at all. Yeah,
I think as the season goes on, all of us will kind of catch on with the numbers and who's who. And, through a couple times I was like, wait, who's 56? Oh, wait, that's Leonard Floyd. And, so I couldn't keep up with it fast enough. But I'm just watching a play here on Twitter on Mike Hughes' first touchdown, where he got burnt by,
Bouquet.
Yeah. So it was a zone read, and that play was on Xavier Watts. It wasn't on Mike Hughes. The fact that even Mike Hughes touched him was a miracle, because Xavier Watt undercut it. It was thrown over him, which was his zone, and then Hughes just happened to be the guy making the tackle. So I don't want to beat up. Mike Hughes did get burned on that second one, though. But the first one, that was definitely on Xavier Watt.
Like, Robert, I'm coming to you with this question here. I mean, the last drive for the Buccaneers to go ahead and get the go-ahead touchdown to initially win the game. I mean, just your thoughts on the inconsistent coverage on the back end, and not only on the back end, but as Rick stated, that high of a pressure rate, but you were not able to get to the quarterback. Just elaborate on that last drive. I mean, it seemed like, and there was times that, let's not forget, special teams was garbage today. Koo had to save the tackle.
That was exactly going to be my point. I mean, that drive was set up by poor return coverage, and it started, I guess, there maybe late third quarter, when we, cut the lead down to 4. The special teams coverage was horrible all day, and that really put the defense behind the 8 ball. And then, of course, they were stepping up, making some good plays, knocking down some passes. But when you get them in 3rd and long, Group makes that boneheaded play, which, like I said, I'm not going to be too upset about that. It was an emotional thing. Just, that's got to be cleaned up, though. I mean, it was a stupid thing to do. And, of course, Hughes got burned. Plain and simple, on that play, he got burned. The coverage wasn't bad. Just, I don't know what it was. I mean, he just could not get himself in front of the ball. Mm-hmm. And, to Rick's point, the first one, it was on the safety, which, Watts is a rookie, that you're going to have your growing pains there, but, got to clean that up as well.
Speaking of Watts and the young players on defense, Billy Bowman, I will say, other than a couple of minor issues, I feel like Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman did very well today. Xavier Watts leading in tackles today, 6 tackles. Billy Bowman with 3 tackles, 3 assists, and even half of a sack. So it's good to see your defensive players making that impact. But then when you look at your 2 first-round picks, James Pierce Jr., 0 tackles, 0 assists, 0 sacks. Jalen Walker with 1 tackle and 1 assist, 0 sacks. And initially, no interceptions or any turnovers. So it's like Jeff Ulbrich has a scheme that seemed to be working as the game started. It seemed like Jeff Ulbrich had this thing going. And then you look at what Rick stated, how there were times in the game you had players steady rotating. I mean, it's always a good thing to have players that rotate, but can we all agree maybe there's a time that you rotate players too much?
Yeah, because, that will mess with the chemistry. Mm-hmm. Big time.
You can't get momentum. You need to keep the rhythm going and build it up. And now you're getting warmed up, and then you're off the field, and you're like, shit, I was just about to, And
I
they
know
also set plays up. Defensive ends have to set players up, and they go for the rip, they go for the rip, they go for the rip just to do the swim move, and they don't get that opportunity because they're getting replaced.
another player that I want to praise on the defense side of the ball, and that's our guy AJ Terrell. A lot of hate on AJ through training camp and all that with the matchup of Calvin Ridley, initially losing that battle in training camp. But then today he goes up against, arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL and Mike Evans. Mike Evans has 5 catches for 51 yards, averaging 10 yards a catch. But the thing is, there were so many man-to-man coverages that AJ won today. And then your defense goes to a zone look, a cover 2, whatever it may be, 4-man rush. And if you go back and look at the stats last year, Baker Mayfield was one of the best quarterbacks in a zone coverage defense. Mm-hmm. His man-to-man coverage, not so great. Right. And you've seen that today when the defense was able to get pressure, when we were able to do a man-to-man coverage. I mean, it was too much for him to even get to Egabuke.
Yeah. Well, and, I think that was something I heard, when we were listening to Mike Johnson, kind of wrap up, the game today was, he brought up that point, Chase, exactly what you said was that, Baker Mayfield man coverage is not all that great. In zone coverage, he's one of the best. And I think the statistics kind of showed that when we were running man, and I think the sad thing is we only ran it about 20% of the time is what I'm pretty sure they were saying. And then we kind of dropped into that 4-man rush zone, read type defense. And that's when we started to get burned again. And the other kind of disappointing thing for me was for the defense was, man, when we first started, they were setting the edge. I mean, they had the edge set to where they weren't letting people get out. And, and then again, I think we go back into that sorry, I just don't understand how, the 4 of us who clearly are not professional coaches can sit here and be like, look, this quarterback in man doesn't do well, but in zone, he can beat you. So why on God's green earth are we going over 60% of the time into zone? Yeah. I mean, if you had run it the other way, Tampa Bay maybe doesn't score more than 10 points. Yep. Because you got away from man cover, you got away from man, and now Baker's starting to beat you. And it's like, so why do we continue to do things that don't succeed is what I don't understand. But
and if I'm not mistaken, when they were starting to gash us up the middle on the run, I think we were dropping back in the zone on those plays too.
Yes, we were.
Yep. There was times that you only brought, even the announcers were talking about it, you brought a 4-man rush over 50% of the game.
Yep.
Never did you, and we were still getting pressure, but if you could bring that extra linebacker, that QB spy, somebody to offset that, just to have that extra body, I feel like as fast as Diablo was in the backfield almost every snap that he was able to rush, why wasn't Diablo rushing every single snap?
Right.
Every snap, Diablo was in the backfield when he was, sent to rush. So I have a question for the chat real quick, and then we'll hit on another topic. Does the Atlanta Falcons make the change at kicker? Is that a move that happens, or is it where we ride it out, we see what Koo can do next week, and next week initially determines what the outstand of what happens at the kicker position? Give me a 1 in the chat for there needs to be a change. Give me a 2 in the chat for we're going to ride it out with Koo. Southside Ricky says, in my opinion, Tyler should be starting running back to beat defenses down, to get them tired, then have Bijan come in second half and give them home run hitters. So the initial first run of the game was Tyler Algier. And you use Bijan more as a receiver check down type of guy like you've seen with Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman back in 2016. But need I say, the Atlanta Falcons somehow find a way to disperse from that as soon as the second drive was over with. You used one play where it was Tyler Algier back at the running back. They had Bijan lined up as a fullback, and you do a direct snap, a handoff to Bijan, which was the edge run on the left side with the pulling tight end, Charlie Warner. Like, how many more times are we going to give the defense the direction of the ball that we're going?
Right. Well, and the other thing is too, man, like, I was very happy with Kyle today. I was. But can we stop setting him on the edge to chip? That is not what Kyle Pitts does. Again, it's the things I don't understand. It's like you seem to have found a recipe with having Tyler and Bijan on the field. Then you get away from that, even though you're having success from it. And then you get away from it. You set Kyle Pitts up there to go chip and it's not working, but you continue to do it. It's just like, why on earth are we doing these things? It's just, the frustrating thing, man. It just is at this point.
Cody,
chat right now.
Interrupt right quick, boys, but I'm going to have to split.
Hey, that's all right, Robert. Glad to have you here, man. Give you shout outs before you head out.
Shout out to you guys for letting me be a part of this. It's always an honor. Shout out to the fans that showed up at the bench today. Shout out to our viewers, our subscribers, and shout out to my family, Brianna, Peyton, Zach, and Christy. I love you all. And as always, rise up.
Rise up, Mr. Robert. So I'm looking at the chat here, and not a single fan has said ride it with Koo. Atlanta Falcons Pandemic says absolutely pack Koo's bags. Georgia Texas Boy says I would make both kickers active. Obnal says we need to. I swear to God, every time Koo kicks an extra point, I get nervous. Tony Primetime Dunn says Koo out. We can't ride with him like this, like we did last year. Tony says Cody. Kenny says hi.
I can.
Atlanta Falcons Pandemic says, yeah, although Kyle blocked halfway decent today, he does not need to be out on the edge trying to block someone. And I agree. There was a let's look back at the throw before halftime when we're trying to get down in the end zone, to put some points up before half. You go with a deep route to Casey Washington. Why wasn't that designed for a Kyle Pitts? Why wasn't that designed for a speedster like Ray McLeod? I think there's factors that you have to look at when it comes to game planning and play calling. But can we all agree the play calling was not the best today?
That was my biggest complaint. Offensive play calling was my biggest complaint today. I thought Zach Robinson was, until the Koo miss, I was blaming the game on Zach Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, everybody else, whatever. But yeah, I did not. There were so many plays where I was just like, man, that was bad timing. Why are we doing that? Running up the middle with Bijan, like what is going on? The Drake swing route or whatever it was, the screen on 3rd and 6. I can't remember. There was a couple other plays as well. I was like, what is going on here?
Georgia Texas Boy says Koo clanked a 40-yarder and missed from 44. When he hit the upright, dude, I knew then it was like, here we go. And then the game leads to the way it does, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers score as quickly as they did. I just had this feeling, man. I just had the feeling that Koo was going to pull this damn ball, and I'll be damned if he didn't. What is it from the 40-yarder?
Koo will be our kicker next week. And they will see. This is just Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't do that. They wait it out. If he does it 2 weeks in a row, then they'll make something happen. We can't have 2 kickers because we don't have the roster spot. That doesn't really work that way. So Koo's going to be the week 2. I'll go ahead and tell you.
Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, man, this sucks because I really wanted Koo to come back and be that guy. But I think he probably starts next week. But if
Cody, I really thought your hot take was going to be the one to hit because you said before the game, Koo's going to hit the game field goal to win the game. He'll be redemption and we'll be all good. And I was like, okay, Cody's on to something.
Well, and you know what I didn't understand because, right when he was getting ready to kick that last one, Rick, did Tampa Bay call a timeout? Because I was pretty sure they were out of timeouts. When they called that one to ice Koo at the end.
They did. That was their last timeout.
Yeah,
was that okay? I thought they were out of timeouts because he nailed it. He nailed it
right down the middle.
Right down the middle. And then timeout called and he missed it. So, but I could have swore that Tampa Bay was out of timeouts because I was like, how did they stop? But
it was a bad day for both kickers because the Bucks really, when you look, if you really go down to it, we were trying to get down there to tie the ball game up with a field goal, but if they make the field goal they missed earlier and the extra point, you got to score a touchdown. You have to score a touchdown in that situation.
Which might have been better for us. Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe taking the shots at the end zone would have been the recipe to success. But
you know what I thought was shocking in the game, and I just saw the stat. I saw it during the game, but I think the stat was Michael Penix did not connect on a pass beyond 17 yards. So I thought we were going to stretch the field a lot more than we did. Now that could be a Mooney, Casey Washington's first game, couldn't establish the run, so they were kind of playing back. There could have been some factors to that, but we did not stretch the field at all. That looked kind of like an Arthur Smith-ish type offense where we kind of just dinked and dunked our way down the field. So I don't know what the logic and reasoning was behind that, but that was, not what I expected.
Before we turn the page and we start speaking on next week, obviously we're on the road 2 weeks in a row here, the Minnesota Vikings, and then you have the Carolina Panthers in Carolina. Before we hit on that, I want you guys to give me an overall grade of week one's opening performance, A through D.
Man, I think I'm going to have
to hit that pen, Cody, before you say it.
I'll say, man, I'm going to have to, God, I want to give him a B, but just for the stall out and then taking the loss and the offensive play call, I'm going to have to give him a flat C, just a flat C, man. Had you stayed hot and, been hot, you're definitely probably you're getting an A, but yeah, you can't stall out like that, man. I would say you're getting a C from me. The good news, again, I'm going to stay optimistic about this. Things that can be cleaned up and it can be better. It can be better, but overall I'm giving them a C today.
So I'll give the overall performance playing wise. I'll say, I felt like the players were out there to do it, man. The effort that Penix game today. I mean, Penix saved the game not once, but twice a day. The diving first down to initially give you a new set of downs, and then the diving effort to initially give you the touchdown that should have won the game. I'll give the players a B, and I'm going to give our coaches and play callers, not Ulbrich so much, more or less Zach Robinson, I will have to go with a C-. That's
I'm going to go with overall, I'd say it was a C+. I want to give them a B, but the thing about the game is we were good at things that I wasn't sure about. Penix, I was like, I know he's going to be good, but let's kind of see. Casey Washington, let's see. O-line, but they kind of held out. The run game struggled, but the pass game, they held up. Our pass game was better than I kind of thought it was going to be, but our run game struggled.
Yeah.
Watts and Bowman made bigger plays than our defensive ends. I thought the defensive ends were going to make bigger plays than they did. So I think overall it was a wash. It just wasn't how I expected it to happen. So I think the coaching, I think Ulbrich, I'll give it to them. I think they played good. I think they came out as best they could considering who they had in there with the rookies and the experience and things like that. I thought Zach Robinson at best was a C. I think that he left a lot out there. But I think the players came out there with a lot of enthusiasm, made some plays. I think the game was there to be had. But that's standard Falcons for me. I need to see us get the job done, us come out when we're supposed to win, make the plays, and actually make the plays, and we stop having these conversations. So until then, they're a C+ for me.
So here's a really good comment, and I wanted to bring this play up before this comment, and Abno just reminded me of the play. He said, what was Cordell Hodge doing when he could have had caught the touchdown, looked like he lost the ball? That's exactly what happened, Abno. He looked away, and the ball was in the back left-hand corner of the end zone, which would have been the touchdown to end it all. You wouldn't even had to have Koo to kick a field goal. Cordell Hodge could have easily made that catch. If that's Drake London in that situation, now I don't know today as many drops as Drake had, but if that was Drake London in that situation, I think the Falcons walk away with an easy W due to a touchdown pass. Cody, Rick, y'all want to elaborate on that? Because that, to me, was like, I mean, even before that, there was even we can't win games off of flags, but there was a PI call that it was clearly that Cordell struggled on the 3-yard line to get past the defender that was never thrown.
Yeah, you can't. Again, it boils down to control the things you can control. You cannot count on referees to make every call because, again, they're human too. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to miss. They're going to miss calls. They're going to make bad calls. Man, that was one of the things that was frustrating me so bad with the two incredible plays that Michael Penix had. That we had to sit there and watch these reviews. It's like, why are we watching reviews? It's like clearly he's down. When he stretches it to get that first down. You can clearly tell that, shoulders down, knee is down, he's being contacted, and we're checking to see if it's a fumble out of the, into the end zone. It's like,
I still, to this day or to this hour, will say Drake London did lose the ball, but came down and completed that touchdown.
Oh yeah. No, he did. Absolutely did. But yeah, as far as the Cordell Hodge thing, man, I thought he was going to have it, but yeah, he definitely just lost the ball. He just lost the ball, and it's going to happen, man. I would say it's going to happen. But again, if you clean up, the stupid penalties, you clean up, the drop passes, you clean up the drop. I mean, how big of a momentum shift is it? Because it was one, I think I remember at least 3 dropped interceptions.
Easily.
I mean,
AJ Terrell was the first, Xavier Watts was the second, Caden Ellis was the third. All 3 of those should have been intercepted.
This is the Atlanta Falcons. Can we stop trying to catch the ball like this and start trying to catch the ball like this?
Yes.
Every time they try to
correct me if I'm wrong, Caden Ellis would have been a pick 6.
Dude, they're killing me on the basket catch drop shit.
Yep.
I'm just like,
April Thomas, what's going on? Glad to have you here. Atlanta Falcon Pandemic's got a good topic before we head out of here tonight. What did we think of Mike Hughes? Obviously, we've all exaggerated and gave our statements on Mike Hughes, but is this a guy that we're going to continue to roll with, or is it a thing wherein Clark Phillips III gets back and healthy, you may see a change? Your guys' thoughts?
We'll see.
Kind of how I look at it. Yeah, it's like
I don't know.
I don't see a change. I don't see a change. I really don't.
No, I don't see a change happening right now. Otherwise, we would have already made it. We submitted to him as the CB2. We got to ride that out a little bit longer. Again, it's week 1. I've seen AJ Terrell get tore up week 1 and then turn it up. So, I don't want to. We can't overreact.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Every player had opportunities at some point in the game to make something else happen, and they didn't. Even Penix, who we thought looked great, he missed some easy throws. Zach Robinson missed some easy calls. Bijan missed some easy, wide open, nobody within 20-yard drops, and he's our golden child. So,
oh God, when he fumbled that football, I was like, "What?" As soon as that happened, I was like, "Please tell me it's not going to be one of those days where, like Rick said, just things that the Falcons just do." It just.
I did like somebody commented on. I saw it, and I will agree. So I was in the stands arguing with fans about this. Raheem Morris managed the clock the right way down the stretch.
Yes,
he absolutely did.
Call a timeout if they just blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, bro, if he gets tackled, it's going to be 12 seconds. We're going to have 12 seconds. So Raheem Morris, I think overall, he kept the composure of the team, kept everything moving. 23-20 loss. The time was used the right way. We missed a kick. It is what it is. But overall, Raheem did his job. I'm happy with what he did overall. Threw the flags at the right time. Listen to his players. I'm good with all that.
Tony says Baker missed 2 wideouts that were wide open. He missed. Tight end was a walk-in touchdown all day.
We said we're like the tight end, our defense, and everyone else missed that play except for Baker. Baker was the only one who saw what was going on there.
Southside Riggy said, I forgot we don't have a first rounder next year. So this is things that are going to come into play that will be a big topic. Yeah, our defensive end. That's right. We got to see production out of that Southside. You got to see it, man. This is only week 1, so we're hoping to see a bounce-back game next week on the road in Minnesota against a rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. We'll get to watch that tomorrow night as they take on the Chicago Bears. I will be watching that game very closely because, our cornerbacks have a big matchup next week with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison as well. So there will be another speedster that, Mike Hughes was going to have to cover in the open field. So we'll see how that goes. Atlanta Falcon Pandemic says, those 2 drop balls from Bijan had me shaking my head. Oh, no. It's something you don't see much out of Bijan, man, and it's very rare when you do see that. So, it is opening week. This is their first time on the field together, full contact as a full offense. So maybe it was growing pains. Maybe, next week is the bounce-back game to get this thing back on the track, get back to the identity that, that they said all preseason that, offense would be fine. Defense was the concern area. But I would have to say today it was kind of 50-50 with me as far as who this loss was on, because there were plays on both sides of the ball that were missed and could have been played. Before we get out of here, man, Southside says we better put JJ on the ground 4 or 5 times next week. Addison is out suspended, and JJ is hampering on injury. So 2 pluses there heading into next week. That's very great. I didn't know Addison was out.
That's what we thought was happening.
That's what I was to say. We just thought that about
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' whole offensive line was rotated. Like nobody was in their original spot, and we came away with 1 sack. Abno says 5-1 before bye. I still see possible high hope.
I like it.
I'm down with it. If we go 5-1, you won't hear me complain about nothing. If we can go even throughout this next 5-game stretch.
Yeah, I said 2-2 in the first 4 games, so it's always a different game than I thought. But it is what it is. I'm a little concerned. I'm going to go into this game like show me, because in my opinion, I think the Vikings are better than the Buccaneers.
Absolutely.
But J.J. McCarthy, Oh no. Like,
well, and well, and to your point, Rick, I would say what is one of the Falcons' biggest, kryptonites is fucking rookie quarterbacks.
Yep.
For whatever reason, we make rookie quarterbacks look like Peyton Manning, Super Bowl years.
Tony says, yeah, but if they play preseason some to get chemistry, we would be talking about this. I mentioned it during the game. I felt like there should have been maybe not a whole quarter, maybe not even a whole, 5 minutes of the game, just one drive to get the shakes off, to get back in rail. But that's behind us now. We're going to have to progress forward and correct this thing next week against a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. And I don't really know what the Vikings rank defensive wise right now because, it is week 1. We'll see what they do next week. But definitely some improvements to come as a team, as a whole, special teams, defensively, offensively. If I had to get the game ball, and we'll do a game ball giveaway, I would say my game ball goes to Divine Diablo.
Facts.
That's my game ball.
Animal field. Animal.
Yeah, crazy how fast he was in the backfield. Made Baker Mayfield's life for the first half of the football game hell. Atlanta Falcons Fandemic says, I'm going to be confident that we will have learned something from this week to be prepared for the Minnesota Vikings. Falcon fans, hit that like button. Leave a comment. If you're watching this video after the live, man, leave a comment. I'll be sure to get back to you on YouTube, Facebook, wherever it may be. If you're new here, man, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 1K, and we cannot do it without you guys. It's free. It costs you $0. So if you're a Falcon fan, hit that subscribe button. We getting ready to close this show on up out of here. Rick, Cody, give me a shout-outs for tonight.
I'm going to give I'll start first with a game ball like you did. I was going to go with Divine. Obviously, that's an obvious choice, but I think I'm going to give it to Casey Washington because I didn't expect anything from him whatsoever today. Yep. And I saw him make a bunch of plays, and he took a big hit near the end of the game. So I see the potential there. I'm glad they kept him on the roster. So excited about that. I'm going to give a shout out to all the Atlanta fans. From the moment I walked in the building, I was like, okay, they're bringing it today. Everybody was in the seats. I got a bunch of clips. So, there's no excuses. Like it is not on the fans. They showed up all 4 quarters. Super excited about that. Congratulations, Michael Penix. I think it was a successful first start, quote unquote, in the NFL. I think he showed up pretty good, and he showed a lot of heart and a lot of determination. So I'm excited for the direction the Falcons are going. And if you saw that screenshot, Chase, I sent you, Michael Penix has the best start in the first 4 games in Falcons history, even better than Matt Ryan by a pretty wide margin. Mm-hmm. So it's looking up. Going to try to stay positive. It's one of those just
what's Philip like to say? Be patient. Be patient. Yeah. That's what Philip likes to say.
42 Cody, years of being patient. All right.
I feel you, dog. I feel you.
I
feel you. Cody, shout outs for tonight, brother.
And
game ball and a game ball.
I'll give you a game ball. And this one's going to shock a lot of people. My game ball is to Kyle Pitts.
I knew it.
Love it.
I would say I was going to be obvious with for me, like my honorable mention, there's going to be Michael Penix. I think, he absolutely had a phenomenal game today. But Kyle Pitts, look, man, I've been very, very hard on you on this show. Very hard on you. If you can give me Sundays like this, week in and week out, like, welcome back.
The mentality was there,
yes,
Cody. Like, did you see the one hand stiff arm?
Yes,
like,
when he absolutely planned him, I was like, okay, Kyle Pitts is wants to be in a Falcon uniform. If I can get that.
During the game when he made that play, I was like, we're going to have to watch that for the next 8 weeks. That one stiff arm.
Absolutely.
But, so shout out to Kyle Pitts. You get my game ball today. Other than that, guys, shout out to y'all coming on. It's always tough to do these after a loss, but I think it's good to get it off your chest. But here we are, man. Let's say it's week 1. Lots of positive, lots of things to clean up, but can be done. So shout out to that. Shout out to everybody that, again, Falcon fans, it's hard to come on and listen to, guys talk about a loss. But y'all are here commenting, and it's great to see that,
a lot of viewers, a lot of comments today.
Yeah. And that's awesome to see that we get ragged on as a group of, as a fan base, I should say, for not being here for our team, that we're very fair weather. And that's just not the case. If some of these Falcon, they're the 5 most diehard Falcon fans are on this show, man. And I would say, so So shout out, like Rick said, shout out to the Falcon fans that showed up today. It's doable. So I don't want to hear, oh, tickets are too expensive. Oh, I've got other things going on. It can be done. I saw it today firsthand, and it was loud. My ears still hurt, from, just everybody yelling and screaming. So shout out to, Falcon fans. Y'all showed up today, which is awesome. I'm sure it pissed off the national media because they love saying how empty our stadium is. So shout out to y'all. But
tweets that said it.
Atlanta was D-Lid was the number one tweeter that I seen before the game even started on Twitter, posting the Falcon fans need to get away from tailgating and get to their seats. I would say from the TV perspective, from the shots that Rick sent me, the Atlanta Falcon fans showed up today and were waving those flags in the stands. So I'm more than happy with what I've seen as far as attendance from fans. There's not much more to say, Falcon fans. It is what it is. Week 1 is over with. The Falcons fall 0-1, looking for a bounce-back game next Sunday in Minnesota, man. I'll give my shout-outs, and we'll close this thing out. Shout out to everybody that tuned in tonight. As Rick stated, there was multiple comments that we were not able to even get to and read tonight because you guys came in and flooded it with love. So shout out to you guys for being here. Everybody that's in the comments, hit that like button for us, share it. It pushed us out in the algorithm. We appreciate it. Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons, man. Football is back. Without football, we would not be sitting here talking about these Atlanta Falcons. I want to give a shout out to, as you stated, Michael Penix. Shout out to Raheem Morris for time clock management. And shout out to Divine Diablo, the guy that came in his first year here in Atlanta from the Raiders, made an impact today in his first ever game as Atlanta Falcons. So
great job to our GM.
Yep, absolutely. Great job to Terry. Every rookie that he drafted other than Jack Nelson was on the field today. So that is a big, big statement for not only now, but for the future of what these players could be here in Atlanta. Falcon fans, man, hit that like button. It's been a great show here with DFU. Episode 161 is officially in the books. The Atlanta Falcons, go on the road Sunday. The DFU will be back with you Friday night for a pregame / recipe to success of how to beat the Minnesota Vikings. It's your boy Chase, Rick, and Cody from DFU, man. We up out of here. A-Town down.